Just when you thought children's entertainment online was safe from terrorist propaganda, we have the Jewish story of the day, and it involves Miss Rachel, the wildly popular online YouTube sensation and children's educator. She's come under fire for spreading pro-Hamas, anti-Israel propaganda on her programs and on her social media. This week, that criticism came to a head when the group Stop Anti-Semitism sent a letter to Attorney General Pam Bondi asking her to look into whether Miss Rachel receives any foreign funding in exchange for spreading anti-Israel, pro-Hamas propaganda. Is that far-fetched? Not really. A number of anti-Israel influencers in America have been found to have been accepting money from countries like Qatar, Russia, China, and Iran, and organizations linked to those countries in exchange for spreading anti-Israel, pro-Hamas propaganda. Why do those countries pay for that propaganda? Because anti-Semitism is good for authoritarian regimes. Since the beginning of time, authoritarian and totalitarian regimes have used anti-Semitism and anti-Jewish hate to help divide their populaces, to create an other on which their populations can focus. And these governments then project the evil onto Jews, or in this case, the Jewish state, and that helps distract from their own evils. So they spread those lies and propaganda. They've been very successful with that in America, in the influencer community, as well as on college campuses, funding Middle Eastern programs and endowments, particularly Qatar. And we've seen the results of that recently with the anti-Israel protest on many American campuses and the anti-Semitic imagery, rhetoric, and exclusion of Jewish students that those protests have often included. Miss Rachel has exclusively talked about the suffering of Palestinians, particularly the children of Gaza, implying that Israel is purposely and indiscriminately killing them, when in fact we know, according to the United Nations, the United States, and every European Union country, Hamas purposely uses children and civilians as human shields in civilian infrastructure centers in an effort to drive up civilian casualty numbers and thus win global sympathy and create anti-Israel animus globally. And they've been very successful in that effort since October 7th. So Ms. Rachel, like most influencers who are anti-Israel, don't mention the fact that Hamas is a terror organization, an anti-Semitic genocidal terror organization that uses civilians as human shields, and that killing their own people is part of their war strategy. Ms. Rachel, for her part, has never mentioned the suffering of Israeli children. She's never mentioned Palestinian terrorism. She's never mentioned October 7th. Stop Anti-Semitism wants to know, because Ms. Rachel does do paid partnerships and sponsorships, is she being paid to spread propaganda? It's going to be up to Attorney General Pam Bondi and the Department of Justice whether or not she looks into this. I'm going to be reaching out to Bondi's office for more information. I'll have more for you on this story soon.